started then. So Mike Giebler is he's the lead developer on this project, and so he's gonna walk you through the training today, and then John Chattel and I will be there as backup support, and if any other questions or things come up that need to be addressed. So again, my name is Ken Spiro. I'm the lead architect for the virtual lab, and John Chattel is head of the virtual lab support team, and so we'll go ahead and get started then. So you want to go ahead, Mike?
Oh, yep, okay, I'm all ready. So what we're covering today is the approval process after a project owner enters a new project into the system. And so I'll just kind of get right to it. Of course, the first step you see in the interface here, we have some that have already been entered. And I'm going to quickly enter another one here just so you can kind of see how that process works. It's not really part of today's training, but you at least get to see how that process works and everything. And we can always go over that too if we want to on that. So to do that, in this main interface, we have a menu bar here at the top, and we just have an Add Project option right here at the top. And it takes you to a multi-step form to enter this information in. And first step is brief information, what's the name of the project, and a brief description of that project. And I'll go ahead and put that in here. And step 2 is a little bit about the project owner. We automatically fill it in with information from the logged in user. We don't have a phone number in our system just yet, so that needs to be filled in. And this information can be changed too if somebody is entering information for somebody else. That's an option there.
I just want a quick pause on that.
Okay.
I'm still negotiating with Gary Matlock, or discussing with him whether it would be better to disperse this to the masses or have a more focused input like a deputy director of the lab. So by that comment about you could enter it for someone else, that would allow for the approach of like a deputy director over a lab to enter the project for his lab.
Correct, yes.
Thanks.
Okay.
Just FYI, Steve Smith joined the meeting.
Hey, Steve.
Hi, Steve. All right, and then just in the third step, there's just a little more information that needs to be entered here. The first one is the NOAA line office, and this is actually what kind of we key off of to know who gets an email or who this approval process is going to be assigned to. And then we have some different organizations here. This is the organization owner, project owner, organization that they're in. And I'm going to just pick some here.
And while you're doing that, I know I did a demo, a month or two ago, where the system was still being matured, and on that section right there, it was more free-form entering. So, are you using a more formal list of FMCs now?
Yeah, we have a list in here, and this field is actually searchable as well. So if you just start typing, it'll pull up that list, or you can use the drop-down to find those items as well. But if you pick something that's not in the list, you'll get this error saying that you must select from the list. So it has to be in the list. But if you don't find it in there, we do have this option right here to add another organization.
Okay, that's good. I think most things should be in there. So that's a good way to go.
Yeah, Mark, I've been personally adding in the key ones from OAR, for example, that I'm aware of. That I may not have captured all of them. So you could, when you get a chance, you could take a look at what's in there, and you could search under OAR, and you'll see. So it's basically the labs, I think, is the main thing I put in. So anyway, that's something you can do.
Your work on that.
Step 4 is if you have a transition plan, you can enter the transition date for this, and you can actually attach a document that represents the transition plan if you want to at this point. This is all optional information on this page. And then the last step is you can categorize this for strategic objectives and things like that, or putting it in tags in here as well. Just to help I categorize and group these different projects for searching and things like that. And then once you hit save, emails are generated, and this project will show up in the list for some people, but not everybody. You can see I've refreshed this page, and you see these pending entries. So I know Ken and John have been entering some entries as well. So who can see these pending entries are the person that entered the project, the person that, or actually the people in the role that are the approvers for that line office, and administrators can see them too as well.
And not only that, the approvers have edit permission, correct?
Correct, right.
Yeah. So
we've given it. Yeah, approvers and the person that entered it can fix it right here if they want to.
So that's an important thing, Mark, because it gives you and your team the ability to adjust things if they need to, on your own. You don't have to ask us, and you don't have to ask the project owner to do that.
Okay, and actually, in theory, at this point, since we've entered some of these test projects here, you guys, some of you should have received some emails. I don't know if we got every approval role that's present in this training session, but I don't know if you want to go ahead and check your emails to see if you've got something. Let me show you here.
NOS. I'm creating the NOS one right now.
Okay.
So it'll be in a moment for you to get yours.
The next one came in.
Yeah, and I got the you see new project for your review. I got one as well.
Okay, great. All right, so they should all look like what we have here. And what we've done is we tried to provide at least a brief instruction on what you need to do out there. It's pretty straightforward when you get out there. It looks like a lot of steps, but they're all simple steps. And we've included a link to the VLab in this email, so you can.
Now that one says Dev though.
Oh, okay. That might have been one that I've done earlier. There we go. This one's
Okay.
VLab. Okay,
All
that
right.
was probably an earlier test today. Sorry about that. Yeah, that was an hour ago. So, okay. So these should all be okay. So from there, you can go ahead and just click into the VLab and log in. And
Login
have
is just
the-
your email. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So here, login is your NOAA credentials. So first name, dot last name, and then your NOAA password. going to switch back to this other screen here. And once you've logged in, at the very top we have what they call the doc bar, and it has some quick links. You might not see everything that I see up here, but where we're going for is for the workflow process, this is attached to your user account here. So you'll locate your name in the upper right, and click on that, and go to My Account. And then from there you get several options, and what we're going for here is the workflow task section here. So we have a My Workflow task up at the top. And here you can see different workflow tasks that have been assigned. And the initial assignment is to a role rather than to an individual. And we do that for the fact of people going on vacation and things like that. If you have more than one person assigned to a role, they'll all get a notification that this new item is out here, and they can all go out and find this. So that's where we have an extra step, and that is when you have one of these, you need to assign it to yourself.
So Mike, did you want one assigned for one specifically for you so that the others can?
Yeah, that would be a good idea, I think.
Yeah. I'll create that for it.
Okay.
So with this screen that we're seeing now, I saw Neil's name from NOS and other things. So when we pulled that up for ourselves, will we, like for the OAR case, I own the OAR project for review?
Yeah, so what the Neil Weston and the Mark Vincent, that was put into the either the name or the description of the project, so that these are easy to identify. But what happens here is I have, for this demonstration, have the approval role for all of the line offices.
So for
yeah, so
either one.
so you folks should just see the ones for your line office.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah. So you wouldn't see as many. So you'd see the NOS would just see this one out here. Another way you can find these is next to your name, this number here shows you how many notifications that you've been sent, and this workflow process will send a notification to this process. And you see I have 9 of them that are out here. And you can find those, and you can click, and it'll take you directly to that particular workflow task. It does save a step there. And at this point, you can do the assign to me process. I'm going to wait and see if Ken has. Yeah, there's 10 out there now, so I think Ken might have completed that one.
Yeah, if you click on it again, you'll see it.
Okay. All right, there it is. So Ken just created that one for me so I can walk through this process. So from here you can, the workflow process is to assign it to yourself first. You can, before you even do that, you can click on it and you can view information about it. This is just the title here, but you have an option to put this view right there, and it gives you all the information about this project that Ken entered here.
So, if let's say Chris Moses and I were going to be, collaborating to do these, and particularly on the early ones, we wanted to both look at them, maybe not sitting side by side, but look at them and discuss them. How did you feel about project 1, 2, 3? And then, maybe after that we can divide and conquer. Would that be the best way to just view the information as a first glance?
You can do it through here, or if you wanted to, if you know about the project, you can actually do it through this. You should be able to view these before they're approved. in this grid view as well. So it's a couple of different ways of doing it, whichever you end up being more comfortable with. Either one will work. From here you can click on this link in the first column and it'll take you to that same view. So either way works.
But from a process standpoint, Mark, that could work. So, for example, before anybody assigned it to anybody, you and Chris could say, okay, I looked at this one, and you looked at that one, so you take this one, and then say Chris would then go and assign it to himself, and then he would approve it at the next step. And then you could take a different one, but before you did any assigning to anybody, you could just look at what's there.
Okay. And once you assign it and jump into it under that approval role, do you have to take an action? You know, let's say it's something you wanted to, you know, think about or look into, make a phone call. Do you, after you know, jump into it in that review mode, do you have to review, deny, you know?
So you could assign it to yourself, and then you could make a phone call, etc. before you approve. There's one more step that I think Mike's going to show, that after you assign it to yourself, or Chris assigns it to himself, then there's one more step, which is the approval. So you can wait indefinitely until you actually approve it.
So, Stephen, Chris here, to follow on that question, just to, and maybe we're nitpicking a little down the weeds or something, but can you actually assign it to yourself and say, I get in the middle of that, and somebody comes down here with their hair on fire that, you know, we've got to go deal with another problem. So I put this down, make, at the end of the day, I'm going to shut down my laptop or whatever. You know, I mean, when you say you can make that phone call, let's assume that I have some reason that I don't get back to it for 2 days, I end up having to shut down the computer. Does that break the entire process? And I have to go in and assign it to myself again to hang it up so we get it complete?
I believe no. It doesn't. Nothing is broken. It'll just stay in that assign to use process until you get back to it. Mike, am I right?
Yeah, that's correct. It'll stay up here. You see up in on my screen here, the upper part is assigned to me, and the lower part is assigned to my roles. So this is one that was assigned to me earlier this morning, and it'll just sit there until I attend to it and finish this one, that first one off. And it could be days if, you know, if it's necessary, you know, to do some research or whatever on it. It'll just stay in your queue until you're ready to go ahead and finish it up.
Okay.
One other point too is this is on the server, so if you're, it's not tied to your local machine in any way, shape, or form. So my point is that if you're traveling or if you're doing something else, you can, as long as you have web access, you're going to be able to go on and do this task. And you can change, of course, the machines that you're doing it on.
In the example, if we have two people working on this and someone assigns it to themselves, I can still see it, right? Or, you know, it may not fall under my task, but I'll still be able to
You
know
can see. You can see it. You just wouldn't be able to approve it.
Right. Okay.
Who had Geo?
Just,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, just to clarify that, you wouldn't see it in your workflow tab, and you wouldn't see it under the group anymore because or the role. Once it's been assigned to an individual, it's no longer in that role. But as Steve indicated, if you went back to the tabular view, you're going to still see all of the projects which are assigned to your line office in a pending state until they've actually been approved, or they'll stay in a pending state if they're haven't been approved, or if they've been rejected. At the point at which someone actually approves it, then they'll change over, and Mike will get into this, I'm sure, and they would then turn green, and then anyone would be able to see them.
So the question I had on the process here, again, Chris knows it from OER, Mark's our primary, so say he and I divvy all this stuff up for the example we were discussing, and I go off and I do some things. I run out of time, get on a plane, I'm going to Indonesia, 36 hours of travel, and Mark's thinking, stupid, what's the deadline for that plan, but he knows I'm now offline, and I just clumsily forgot to do it. As the lead for our line office, he reassigned that to himself
assigned it to yourself and gotten busy, the other person can't go out and take it, unfortunately. You'd have to go out and assign it to that person from your workflow queue.
All right, thank you.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, though, as in admin roles, if that was like something really hung up, we could, I guess we could clear it sort of for them, couldn't we?
It would be possible for us to go in because we can, we have a way of going in and impersonating the user, and we could make that change as an administrator.
So I guess the main, I mean, we would like to avoid that, of course, but so the main thing, I guess, is the optimal situation is that you, before you assign it to yourself, that you figure you've looked at it, you've researched it, and you quickly assign it yourself, and then you go in and approve it so that it sort of doesn't go in that pending state for too long. But of course, as Chris, you said, that things happen that are outside of our control, so we just have to do the best we can.
All right, I think that sounds like a justifiable solution, and I'm with you. We do our best to make it an advanced plan, stick to that plan so that things don't spend time in limbo.
Okay. What I've done here on this screen is we have an advanced search feature, and I just wanted to select everything with the OER line office. So I selected that from the drop-down list and clicked the search. And that's an easy way for you to find everything in your line office. And right now we just have the 2 pending entries right here. So I just wanted to point that out to you to be able to narrow things down and find things that way. Okay, back to the approval process. Let's go ahead and just approve the projects that we have out here. Out here in the My Workflow task section. Step 1 is to assign it to yourself, and you can do that right from here if you wanted to with this Actions button on the right. Assign it to me, or if you wanted to look at it first. I accidentally closed. This is a little panel that will open and close. Or you can click on it to look at the details first if you want to. You can go into the view, look at the information, hit the back button, and you can assign it from this screen as well. You can see there's an Assign to Me spot right here. And comments are optional. You can put a comment in there if you want to. And click the OK button there. And if I go back, you'll see that instead of being in my assigned role, it's actually assigned to me up here. And then once you've assigned it to yourself, then you can take that action of approving or rejecting, or here's the assign to somebody else option here. So
you were in the wrong, it's a community one.
Oops. Okay. And it doesn't have these. All right. From here, it looks like we missed the assigned to somebody else option, so we might have to make an adjustment to that. But here you can actually do the approval or rejection step right here. If you were to reject it, it's good to answer some comments here so that when it's rejected, the person that entered the information will get an email, and these comments will be included in that email so they can find out why. If you need, ask them to do some edits to it or something like that, you can enter that information right here in the comment section. And then
I was just going to mention, Mike, that those comments, even if you approve it, those are included in the email that they receive.
edit option as well on
You could,
approving.
you know, great, fantastic project.
Yeah.
Thanks for entering it. You know, I mean, honestly, you know, this is a cultural change thing, guys. So we want to, I think we want to be as upbeat and customer friendly as possible with this. So by all means, you know, be creative here. Like, hey, good to hear from you, Joe. You know, from such and such a lab, wonderful project. Glad to thank you for participating in the project. Let me know when you're in town.
Another thing worth mentioning,
Further,
hey Mike, you may want to mention that when they do enter things in the comment field, that is saved with this workflow and is visible in the activity summary that sort of chronicles what steps were done at what points in time.
Correct, yes. Sorry about that. So there's a couple of tabs here. One says pending, and then here are the completed ones. And here's the one that I just approved. And this is what John was referring to, is that we can go out to that and look at that. So you can review the ones that have been approved. Here's the activity section that John was talking about. You can expand that, and it kind of shows the chronological history of what happened in this workflow process. So it was initially assigned to this role, and then I assigned it to myself, and then I approved it here. So I completed the task review, and there's the comments that I put in there as well.
And you can actually use comments as well. So, I mean, if a couple people have that approval role and they're wanting to coordinate things, you could actually see comments on the project itself, and then that would show up just within this as well.
Okay, now that I've approved that project, it should show up in the list with a different status.
Yours is NWS.
Okay, I'm just going to do a view all here. And I'm going to sort this by the modified date. It should go to the very top. So there's the one that I just approved, and you can see the status is now active on that. So that is the approval process. It's pretty simple. We also wanted to kind of cover what if you want to make some edits to this. I probably should have shown you, Ken, if you don't mind creating another project for me, I can show that. But you can do it from here. The edit option, as we mentioned, is available to the line office approvers. And this button on the right, little drop-down arrow, will give you that edit option. Oh, go ahead.
I have a quick question. I approved my project. It shows up on your panel as active, but on my login screen it still says pending.
I wonder if you might need to hit the browser refresh button.
Okay.
I'm not sure what. It should, in theory, automatically, when you go back to that, show up. But I'd try that first to see if it's a big issue.
I'll go to a different menu, then back to it.
Okay,
Yep, that took care of it.
great. Okay, great.
The other thing that you can do in that situation is you can click on the icon in the upper left if you're in the tagging view. That will refresh it. And so that's,
yeah,
that's
this in
an
here.
option for you as well.
You have this image right here. Refreshes the page.
Or even clicking on the NOAA project repository up in the breadcrumb right above that. So that would do it too. So any of those will
Thank you.
Okay.
As a point of process, is it better to, when you're working with the person who submitted the project originally, is it better just to have them send you the edits so that you can make them yourself in the system, or that they can make it in the system before you would accept or reject? I guess what I'm saying is, if I reject it because there's changes or it's just not good, do they have a chance to resend it back in under that same heading with the changes made so I can reapprove it, or they have to give it a new title, to treat it as a new input into the system, or an old input into the system?
Well, there's a couple of different options on that, and one is if you wanted to reject the project, it'll go back to them to edit, and they can, after they edit it, can resubmit it. Another option is if you're just working with them directly, we do give them, the creator of the project, the ability to edit that project, and you can just ask them to go out and do it. They can't do it through the workflow process because it's not assigned to them, but they can do it through this grid view interface, and even though it's still pending, they can go out ahead and make these edits. If you want to, the only thing is that we don't allow them to change the status to approved or anything like that. But if there's something, minor, they selected the wrong, organization for one of these, you can just ask them to go and make that edit. That's another option of doing that. It might be more efficient, a quicker way of doing it.
Yeah. So my way of thinking about this would be, if they're really minor tweaks, it's probably just as quick for you to go and make that change as opposed to asking them to do it, unless there's a reason that you want them to, be aware of it so that the next time they submit something, they do it correctly.
Right.
So that's a judgment call on your end. But if it's significant changes, you say, the description that's not detailed enough, or there's something obviously wrong that you need their input, then I would reject it if you go back to them. The same entity, the same project, they just need to modify whatever's in there. So there aren't any duplicates or anything like that. And then it keeps track of it. Even if they change the project name or anything like that, it's still the same entry for using that unique ID in the database. So any of those fields can change other than, the status, things like that.
So Mark, I asked my direct reports to submit projects in, and so my experience was kind of along the lines that Ken was suggesting. Most of them were in pretty good shape, but then there was a couple things, so I went ahead and approved them, but then I went back and said, hey, you need to upload this transition plan, you got this document, upload that, or your R&D source organization should be this rather than what you put, so fix that. So I tried to keep it on the project owner to make those fixes.
Mm-hmm.
And it was sort of an education process for the both of us. So, it's going to depend, on what leverage you have, of course, with people. If they're going to, listen to what you say, or you feel like, you're going to have to. Because once so those are my comments.
And once you approve, can you change your mind and then reject later?
We can.
In your example, for example, you had positive leverage. So you said, okay, I'm going to approve this anyway, but make changes X, Y, and Z. Now, for whatever reason they didn't do that, or it comes to light that they can't, and so it's not a valid project for whatever reason, can you go, oh, in that case, I'm going to have to reject this? Or is that...
So Ken, I forget what permissions the line office approvers have to delete a project.
Yeah. There's now only the administrators have the ability to actually delete a project. But if at this point in time we haven't considered that in terms of the workflow to, once someone's approved it, say, I made a mistake, but we need to pull that back. If that's something that, as line office approvers, you guys think is necessary, we can definitely introduce that into the workflow. But at the moment, it's not there. But that's something we could handle.
Yeah, This is Mark Vincent, kind of the opposite question. Chris Moses, are you still on the line, Chris? I know he was going to step out. He did filled out a test project, and so I just went in, assigned it myself, reviewed it, and denied it. And so it disappeared from my workflow task. So I assume that gets emailed back to him. It's in his queue. So does that surprise you that I don't see it in my task anymore?
I believe it would show up in your completed task. So.
Yeah, no longer in your pending, but in the completed.
Okay. Okay. And so I could still go in and review it again. So okay. But I gave him minutes on it until it needs work and denied it.
Yeah, the email that gets sent to him as the submitter with the rejection walks through the steps in terms of what they need to do if they want to resubmit it. And so you would actually, if they go through those steps, they can either withdraw their request or they can resubmit it after making changes. And when they do that, it would kick off the workflow process again. So it would go out to the role, and then you would, as an approver or your line office, would have the ability then to take that project once again and determine whether it's worthy of approval.
This is Mark Vincent again. I just went in and entered another test for dummies project real quick since it's been a while since I did that, and I like this approach. It's pretty streamlined, minimalistic, and it looked like most of the fields were required and with pull downs, so that should make it fairly easy on the person entering the data and also on our reviewers, because they won't be able to submit with a lot of holes in what they've done. If they just put a project title, they can't hit submit. So, it looks like you've kind of built in some tools to encourage them to complete it. And then obviously, we'll have to check for accuracy.
Yeah, the form validation, Mike's done a good job of putting that in place. And so all of the required fields have that validation. So it should not allow someone to submit something without, making the selection on those fields and then also making a valid selection from, the organizations, the target systems, and such that have been identified.
Yeah, so here I just opened up, created a new project and skipped everything, went all the way to the end. If I hit save here, it takes me back to gives me all this red. And if I go to all the different tabs, it highlights in red all of the things that we're missing. So it works pretty well.
Hey, Mike, one thing, getting back to this, what if something gets approved that you want to get rid of? I know that it can be terminated, the project, right, by the owner or somebody else through the status thing?
Yeah, it can be, right. So anyone that has edit ability, once it's been approved, you can't do anything with the status until it's been approved. But like this one here that's currently active, I'm going to go to edit. Now we give you that drop-down option on the status, and we have terminated as one of the options. So that can be changed to terminated at that point if you wanted to. That might be a really good way of doing it.
Kind of that never happened in NOAA, right? Everybody.
Guys, if I just want to, let's say everything's fine, but maybe I just want to email my boss a PDF of what the project metadata looks like. Is there a way just to click on the project and say download as PDF the details of what's in the database? Just in case, someone else doesn't want to, I don't want to make my boss go into the system and just send an email and say, hey, this is what's in there right now. Ned's here. Does this look cool? If so, I'm just going to leave it alone, rather than having him dive into the database.
Yeah, we don't currently have that option. That might be good to like take this screen that has the details. And
Exactly,
convert it to PDF.
exactly. It'd be
Yeah.
nice to be able to just say, would you like a PDF? Just punch that out and with a date stamp on it. And then that way, if needed, I can circulate that to non-virtual lab people as needed.
Yeah, currently we don't have that built into the system, but we could certainly look. I've done similar things before, so hopefully it wouldn't be too hard to get that put together.
I'm just thinking I'm going to find a way to do this while you guys are talking. I'm obsessive about these things.
Okay. All right. So where I was showing that there's the edit option off of this button. You can also edit through the workflow process as well. I go out to my workflow queue. When you first click on the project, you don't have that option. You just have the view option. But once it's assigned to you, you can actually make an edit to that project. So if I assign this to me, now I have an extra option here, which is edit. Click on that, and it takes you to that same edit form, and you can see that it's been edited here. So we give you that option to go ahead and edit right through the workflow form that way. And now that you've made that edit, you might be happy with it, that you can go ahead and approve it at that point. And I think that was all the things that we wanted to go through. I don't know if it sounded like some of you have gone through the approval process. I don't know if any of you have tried to do any editing. Or if anyone has any additional questions on how to do some of these things.
I have not tried to edit. As I mentioned, I did decline a test one that Chris Moses prepared, so at least I know how to decline. I'll try to edit, make one and edit it on the fly. I did have a question, and I don't want to sidetrack people if there's something else, but if you could walk through a real simple example of adding the organization. Steve Smith said that he had added all the OAR units, which he had done all the labs, and it looked like there was a few programs. So there was like 3 things that you asked for. If you could just show a real simple example.
Yeah, sure. So a couple of ways to get there. The first is on the main screen in this toolbar at the top, we have this Manage option.
Okay.
And you can go to Manage Organizations there. And this gives you the listing of them. And then it has a Add Organization button since we're in the Organization menu here.
So if you could
So
do that, I'll give you, an example would be, name, let's do Climate Program Office. That's going to be all under OAR. Okay, so name, you just do Climate Program Office. Okay.
Right. And then if you have any description is optional.
Okay. And then the act, and that's you cascaded all the way down from DOC.
Right.
Okay. Now, on that, I added one for yes real quick, and I'll probably need to correct that. So after I've added it, can I go in and, like I didn't add a description or I
Yeah, you can go back and edit it. Can show them, like,
From here, you have the edit option. So I think the way this is restricted is if you've added it, you can edit this.
okay, like you see that unmanned aerial system? It's like the third one down.
Oh yeah, right here. Okay.
So I did that on the fly. Probably. So can you edit that with your ownership? Okay. So
I can, since I'm an administrator, and it would be kind of good to see if you can. I'm thinking that you should be able to.
okay.
You created it.
But at least I know how to do it now. Like
Right. Yeah.
right, DOC all the way through UAS. That was not what I should have done there. So okay. Yeah, I'll try.
Oh, I see. Yeah, you did it. And yeah. Okay. The name. Okay, I gotcha.
yeah, that would be whatever UAS program office or something like that would be the name.
And I was impressed you had nice descriptions of them. Where did you grab those from? Like their websites or?
Yeah, the ones you see in there, I take credit or blame, but I mostly search websites to get those kind of like one-liners. So that if the website had a good description, that's what you see.
I'm very impressed that you went through that time to do that, Steve.
All right. So here I'm in the organization screen, and if I just click on the icon upper left, it takes me back to the projects. And another way to add an organization is if you're in the middle of adding a project, on this step 3 where you select the organizations, we have that add organization button, and if you click on that, it takes you to that same data entry form to enter that. And then once you save it, it'll take you back to where you left off.
And you should show them the target system one too while we're at it, Mike.
Sure.
We have, so for Neil and Mark Chandler, this may be less of an issue for you, Mark Vincent, because you're not an operational office. But these target systems are supposed to be operational systems. So if the project is determined to be R2O, then it becomes a required field. You have to specify the target system. So this is one where, even in weather service, I'm not aware of all the target systems that are out there, right? So for your particular line office, this may be an area where the project owners are going to have to step up and populate that, or yourselves ahead of time. I mean, I'm doing my best because it's not complete in weather service to try to put the ones that are potential target systems for weather service, but I'm not sure. I'm certain I haven't gotten them all.
Yeah, this is Mark Vincent. I know for myself, I think that's going to be a field that I struggle with, and other people do. I've transitioned a bunch of things to inset before, but the names of their systems are. I was not for that. So.
Yeah, and so this is like the literal catcher's mitt of this R2, R2O or R2U. So what is it going to be like operationalized on? So if it's a some sort of mark, I don't know, fish thingy. That runs and collects fish or whatever, then that would be the name of it. And Neil, if it's some co-op observing network or whatever, then that would be the name of that. So we want to be, really try to put some good thought into those. But for example, Mark, so MADIS is running on the IDP. So IDP is the target system, not MADIS as a target system. So MADIS is an application that is running on a target system. It's not a target system itself.
Yeah, but to a naive person like me, I probably would have put inset, just something totally.
That's right. Right, and that's where the line office, that may be one of the areas that we as line office approvers have to pay special attention to. Is that the right target system? Did they put the right thing? I know I'm going to have to pay attention to that. So that may be where you may have to say, well, go back to the project owner, that's not quite the right system, I think you should put this, or the system I think you really want isn't in there, so could you please add it, and then, and then that will be it, those types of discussions.
And can I make the change to the target system as the approver as well? Is it that?
You can add a target system, I guess.
And then select it for them?
Can you go in there and try to go into the same thing what Mike's showing right now and go to the action thing, Mark, and see if the edit thing comes up. If you see the edit in a drop down?
Hold on. You're under, okay, I see it now, hold on.
To answer your question, you can change the target system. In any of those fields, as the approver, you'll be able to make modifications to those and select. If they chose the wrong one initially, you could choose that for them or let them know that they need to make that change.
I mean, just throwing out an example here, because it seems like, there's identified programs. Let's say this was a bycatch reduction device transition project. So the target system would be, say, the North Pacific longline fishery. So would you put that? You could put the actual fishery where this device is being deployed, or North Pacific longline fishery vessels for a specific fishery that it's being targeted. Is that the endpoint that would jive with what the rest of you guys got going?
I think we'd have to. To me, if it's an instrument on a vessel, the vessel's considered operational, then I would call the vessel the operational system. But others might have another opinion. If it's something like an enhancement to an instrument, then the instrument itself could be the target system, but the enhancement would be the project.
Right.
You see, I mean, these systems are, one, they should have a long life. So that's one thing to consider. You don't want them changing that often. They should be around so they can be enhanced, but they're not replaced very often. But they have to be where new stuff is going on to and be considered operational from the standpoint. But again, probably there'll be some weird cases, I guess, where it might not be clear what exactly it is. You have to make a judgment call. This is a pilot.
I know. I'm just saying, I think, since we want something that doesn't change very long, if this was, say, a new gear type that's being put in place, say in a fishery, we'd say our target system is the fishing vessels of that fishery, basically.
Right.
And then that wouldn't change that too much until they made another new revolutionary gear type to put in place.
That works for me.
Okay. All right. Now, so I'm at the project repository, and how do I add? I can add a project.
Go to manage. Go to manage.
Manage. Oh, manage target systems. Okay, there
you go. Click that on.
And then add something. Okay, I won't do that now, but all right.
But if you go to one of those, any of the ones that are in there, and you click on the action button, you should be able to see the edit.
Mm-hmm.
And you could go in there, and you could be self-empowered to edit one if you felt
so inclined.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. At least just maybe to standardize it, if we could a wild
Yeah.
spectrum of things.
So on this particular aspect for the target systems, any organization, the way we've handled, there's no specific like approving workflow, but we at the VLab will get a notification when there is a new system or organization added, and so that's our way to go sort of like check that out to make sure that it,
Makes
looks reasonable.
sense.
Yeah,
That's reasonable.
right. But we're not going to approve or reject. It'll automatically be published from the get-go, so to speak.
Roger that.
Hey guys, I got to drop off to go to another meeting, but thanks so much for participating. And Mike and Ken can hang around a bit if you got some follow-up questions. But I got to go. Thank you.
All right, so are there any outstanding questions or usability things or anything that you guys have questions on while you've got our attention?
No, I mean, maybe down the road, but at the moment,
Okay.
that's good.
Okay, sounds good.
Comment? Just one comment or a question for me. I added a R&D unit, the UAS program, and then I tried to go back and edit it, and I was not able to. So I could add them, but it doesn't look like I have edit permissions even though I added it.
And that is on an organization that you added, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
You may, you may want to try that for one of yours, or maybe it's user error on my part, but I'll try again. But it looks like I can add them, but I can't go back in and edit when I added.
Okay.
Look at it and everything, but
That's not a user. It's if you don't have it, you don't have it.
Okay.
We'll get that corrected so that
Yeah, we do a lot of testing as administrators, and sometimes we miss permission type things, so we'll look at that and get it fixed.
okay. Everything else looks pretty clean. I know a lot of hard work went into this.
Great. Thank you.
Oh, bye.
Bye.
Okay, thank you guys. Again, if you have any questions moving forward, feel free to let us know. You can send an email to VLab.admin@no.gov or contact us individually. But thank you for taking on this role, and we'll talk with you later.
Yeah, and do maybe follow up on that PDF thing. I mean, again,
Yeah,
for folks that don't want to get their noses into this 2D, it's sometimes easier just to send a PDF to some of these higher ranking folks.
Yeah, this is good. We've got a couple enhancements, and then also I've written down the possibility of being able to move something, reject an issue or a project once it's actually been approved. So we'll look into that as well. So,
Thanks much.
all right. Thank you very much. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Okay, I'll turn everything off.